Hey, this is Elliott, just doing a quick little updated intro so you can come see us live doing stand-up comedy. If you want to see our wonderful guest, Morgan J., first off, go check out his special on YouTube, all right? Search it up. It's out there right now, and he's also on a 30-city tour, so if you are in one of 30 cities, this could be your shot. Check out morganj.com for more info on all that. If you want to see Arijana, the weekend of September 21st and 22nd, she will be in San Diego doing Don't Dutch and then a couple Don't Tell shows. And then the weekend of September 29th and 30th, she will be in Minneapolis featuring at Sisyphus Brewing for friend of the pod, Bo Johnson. That's going to be a wonderful show. Go to arianaramic.com for more info on that. And if you want to come see me on September 25th here in LA, I will be doing Friendship Buddies. And then bing bong, here it is. October 12th, I'm headlining at the Hereafter. I almost said featuring. I'm headlining at the Hereafter in Seattle. Tickets still available for that, so go to elliottgb.com. Follow all of us on social media. And yeah, we'll see you real soon. Tell a friend, rate, review, all that great stuff. Have fun. Stay safe. Enjoy all, baby. End this episode. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Ariana.
And I'm Elliott.
And this is
Burning the Light,
the podcast where we bring comedians on to share the wildest, cringiest, most salacious stories from their time in comedy. Today we have a very special guest. He's on Wild and Out. He's a musical comedian, actor, and just had a special come out. It's Morgan J.
What's going on, guys? I'm looking right into the camera. I'm making love to the people watching.
You are.
XOXOXO.
Lovecast.
Like and subscribe. Mention me in a comment. I
Immediately.
love you.
Get those out of the way immediately. Thank you for
I'm happy to be
coming
here.
out.
I'm glad you guys gave me the cute little telephone chair.
Yeah. Oh, you know it's called a gossip chair?
A gossip chair, right? Because you'd be on the phone.
Yes, so the
Yeah.
phone would sit there
be
and
like,
you'd
"Ooh,
get a
girl."
ring-a-ding-ding, and you'd maybe have a little notepad or something. So
Yeah.
You ain't going to guess who I
Yeah.
saw at the grocery
Oh,
store
but this
today.
is a left.
Bethany's broke ass.
yeah, I guess it is lefty, or maybe it's like
You probably
yeah.
just hold it. You just probably do it on the phone.
Yeah.
So talk to me. You guys tell me your cringy stories. Tell me your
Fuck, all
cringy
right,
stories.
reversal.
So actually, you know, it's funny because we did try to record when we first started the podcast. We did like a pilot episode, right?
Yeah.
And we recorded it, everything. Elliott sends me the rough cut. And I was like, oh, yeah, we can't put this out because I was like telling these funny stories, like, you know, and then I realized all of mine were just like things I was telling as funny stories that were like low key sexual assault. And I was like, we can't put it out.
Yeah,
So-
she was sexual assaulting
Yeah.
a lot of people in
yeah,
those stories.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I had
Yeah.
to leave Seattle.
You were
know?
assaulted, I'm assuming.
Well, it's sexual harassment.
It's
I
a
should
legal
say.
gray area.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the legal world, it's kind of known as tit for tat.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Oh shit! I want to hear these stories.
yeah.
Goddamn.
Oh no, they're just
Goddamn.
insane people in the
Goddamn.
comedy world.
Goddamn,
No, we're
I'll say
here
goddamn.
for your stories.
Yeah.
This is what
Okay.
we're here for.
Yeah,
We're
I mean-
excited.
I'm excited. Oh, you got a little joint over there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's Jessica's. Or Nate's.
Mhm.
Okay.
But well, okay, so you guys know each other. I
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
don't know when you guys met, but
I
this
don't
is
know
the
why
first
they're
time
anymore.
we're meeting.
Well, I was thinking about this with comedians.
Years and years ago.
With comedians, I don't even. It blurs. Like
Oh, for sure.
my friend
Yeah.
Ahmed Al Qadri.
Oh yeah, I know him.
I don't know. It's like you see somebody enough at
Yes.
clubs and stuff, and you're like, I guess we know each other.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. But
Yeah.
how long have you been doing comedy now?
Well, I was doing stand up for 6 years,
Okay.
only stand up, and then I've been doing the musical comedy for. This summer will be. I started in 2007, like performing.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm an old guy.
Wait, so what made you transition from regular stand up to musical stand
I had auditioned. I got recommended to do JFL when I was 23 or 24, just doing
Okay.
stand up. And then nothing. I like killed it at my audition. Nothing happened. Moved to LA the next year,
Where were you before that? What
New
scene?
York.
Okay.
So I was doing stand up in New York for about 5 years.
Okay.
I started when I was 20, and then I was moved to LA. Did finagled another JFL audition. Nothing happened, and I just was sort of like not having fun. You know.
Yeah.
Objectively, if you look at my tapes from doing stand up, they were good. But I don't know, I think there's a crossroads where you're like a comedian, you're like, would I buy a ticket to see myself?
Got
Yeah.
that Richard Pryor moment in Vegas
Yeah,
when
you
you
know.
walked off stage.
You're like, would I want to watch this?
Yeah.
And that's when my friend was like, "Why don't you do some music stuff?" And I always liked singing.
Did you play music before
Yeah, I
that though?
played
Did
piano
you?
for like 10 years growing up, and then
Okay.
I started. I was playing guitar since I was like 16, 17,
Yeah.
and then
Wow, shout out to that friend then.
yeah, he's like, well, I'll say this: I tried it out in New York once,
Ooh, okay.
and it was good,
Mhm.
and then I just never did it really again.
Okay.
And then I would just mess around with my friends with the guitar, and he's like, "Why don't you do that?" And then we took a summer off, wrote 2 songs, and
Okay.
now we're 30 songs later, like that are
Yeah.
published. I have a bunch of other music that I haven't like put out because I don't think it's publishable.
Mhm.
But and that's kind of what happened. And now I love my set. I mean, I
Yeah.
know it sounds lame, but like I would buy a ticket to see
Yeah.
me.
Well,
I'll go through the tape and I'll be like, sometimes I've seen my songs so much, but some of the riffs and the crowd work or when I'm acting real goofy, like those, I'm LOLing in my place and myself.
okay.
And I know that might seem lame, but
No, I mean you
it's
have to
better
make
than
yourself laugh,
yeah.
get excited about the material that you're
Right, because
making, but
if I'm not excited about it, I can't expect
yeah.
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
to spend $30 on a ticket to see this.
So, can I ask you this about musical comedy?
Yeah.
And maybe I don't know.
Why is it the best form of comedy? I'll tell
Well,
you. I'll tell
Scoot
you.
over a little bit more.
Why do
me?
Yeah.
why do other comedians respect me so much? I'll
For
tell you
sure.
why.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's what stops a lot of people from trying
Totally.
it because it's
Yeah.
so looked down upon. But I mean, it's incredible thing to do. I mean, it's one thing if you're just up there and playing it as a backing track and it's like
Yeah.
just your regular stand up. But that's like my big question is like, how did the writing change from you from like regular stand up to musical stand up? Like, were you getting melodies in your head and you were, or like jokes in your head and then writing music around it? Or like, what does that writing process look like for you?
The writing process early on was all about fusing actual lyrics with melodies
Okay.
that were nice,
Mm-hmm.
because it was like like I said, I like singing. I listen to a lot of music,
Yeah.
and so that was the actual song was really more important than the joke at the time.
Okay.
So some of my earlier stuff, or I think in my first special, I feel like the lyrics and the songs are kind of married better together.
Okay.
And then when it comes to like where it is, oh, and then so the first iteration was just like writing the songs. Right?
Okay.
Wrote 2 songs, took it around the open mic scene, did a couple shows with it.
That's a tough thing to take to mics too, like an instrument and
Yeah.
just like
yeah,
yeah.
it was scary. I was like I was shaking on stage and
Yeah.
stuff, and the guitar I had didn't plug into anything, and people
Right.
couldn't really hear it. And so then I got a guitar that plugged in. I did these shows called So Far Sounds. They're basically what Don't
I've
Tell.
heard of those.
So Don't Tell Comedy copied their whole. I don't want to say copy. They just did a comedy version of what
Yeah,
this was doing for
sure.
music, right?
Yeah.
So I was doing these music shows, and I was the only one who was doing comedy, and nobody expected anything funny. So for me, it was like amazing.
Gravy.
They
Yeah.
loved it, And then that's where I really got the opportunity to do like crowd work and improv and things like that. And that's kind of how it evolved. So now when I write songs, I try to write some sort of crowd interaction into it.
Oh, interesting. So you kind of bake in time for
Yeah.
something to happen.
Yeah, because I think bad musical comedy is like, here's the premise of the song, and we're gonna just like chorus verse, chorus verse, chorus verse, and just like do different versions of the joke over and over again, right?
Okay.
I think there's a band, Wolves of Glendale, that does it really well, where they'll elevate this like it's a story,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like we did a song on Wildin' Out about it's having sex with your girl when she's on her period. Really really sensational,
Mm-hmm.
groundbreaking stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one of those examples where it was like, here, come up with funny lines for this,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't go anywhere besides just talking about that,
Yeah.
So when you see my songs, for the most part, I'll touch upon the premise and the joke a little bit, and then we'll go into the crowd work.
Okay.
So like for my song Bro, which is about relationships between men,
Mm-hmm.
and it gets slightly gay,
Mm-hmm.
As they do.
for
I love
that.
the slightly gay. The
Yeah,
air
Just a
quotes.
touch.
it's
The air quotes.
it's like it's hinted there,
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
premise of the
Or tips kissed,
Yeah.
It's-
well, the whole premise is like, hetero dudes experimenting,
yeah, for sure.
right? Which nobody really
which they all
talks-
should.
They all
yeah.
they nobody talks about that,
Mhm.
right? So So yeah, so I do the verse chorus and then I build this whole bit in where I interact every show. It's the same
Okay.
kind of interaction, but it's with a different guy every time.
Interesting.
And so we bake that in there, and it makes every show unique
Okay.
and special for the crowd.
How long does it take you to typically write like one song and feel like it's done?
Well, to write the actual song, maybe like 2 to 3 hours.
Okay.
But like, there's a lot of procrastinating that goes on between that.
Right.
And
Creative process.
yeah, and then you test it, you see what works, see what doesn't work, you take lines out, and then you figure out what are the crowd work moments of the song. I mean, there's songs that I've been singing for a year that have like, even songs that I put on the special that just came out, that I'm like, man, I'm doing stuff,
Adding on to it
I'm
constantly.
like, man, I could have done this, and
Yeah.
then, so it's never really done. And I think what happens is the better you are at your song or your joke, right? Let's say you know a joke front and back, you know what I mean? I remember when I was in New York, I was doing there was these open mics, and Ali Wong had just moved to New York, and she was doing this open mic that I was doing, and she just came to the open mic and ran the same 6 minutes every Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why is she doing the same set at the open mic every week?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a matter of like, finally, when you do get the Tonight Show spot or the TV appearance, it's so when you get nervous or you get anxious, you get in that flight, or you just like can go into auto mode.
Yeah.
But when you're not nervous and you're in autopilot mode, you really have the freedom to step away from the bit and do
Yeah.
whatever, and then you can come
Because you
back
can
to the
come
bit.
back to it.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's the what happens is the more you do it
Mhm.
over and over again. I think that's what happens. Like, people don't want to make a special because they're like, what if there's more? Like, what if I burn the material? But you could, like, audiences don't overlap, honestly. Like, it's a lot of people who come to my shows have only seen like a TikTok clip or two.
Right.
They have
right.
no idea. And most people who come to my live shows, I'm their first comedy show
That
they've ever
is-
been to.
Yeah.
Because TikTok is such a young audience. Like 90% of my
Yes.
ticket sales are from TikTok.
Yeah.
And they're like, this was my first show. I've never been to one.
Yeah.
But some of them can't even get in. They're like, I'm 17. Can I come to the
Yeah.
show? And I'm like, you're gonna have to find somebody who's 25. I know.
Yeah.
That's how young they are coming to my show. I remember there was a girl who was like 15. She came with her
Oh
mom.
my God.
And I was like so surprised that, like, because my shows get a little spicy, so I'm like talking a lot about sex in the shows.
Yeah.
So point being is they don't do the due diligence to like dive deep. Fans now are like not as hardcore as
Okay.
fans back in the day.
I can see
I'm
that,
not
yeah.
I'm not saying that that's worse. I'm just saying they also have so much
Content.
content
Yeah.
and people like vying for their attention. So if you scroll on my
Mhm.
video, you love it, you follow me, you like it, that's all you're going to see of me that day.
Mhm.
You're going to scroll through 100 other videos that day,
Yeah.
and you might become fans of like 10 other people
In
the
one
same
day.
in one day.
Yeah.
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 So
yeah.
they just have access to so much
Mhm.
more, so you can't really expect them to like know your whole catalog
Yeah.
like you would know 10 or 20 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Which is great because you could just do the same material and stuff over and over. I
Mhm.
tell people, like, you could post the same joke for like a year straight over and over again.
People do that.
Yeah,
It'll
just
be
post it
the
in
same,
different.
the same joke, but from different sets.
Yeah, just post it from the show in Vegas or the show
Yeah.
here. Like, and you know what's interesting? Like, you have musicians that you like or singers that you like, and they have a live album, but they have the produced album. But you're like,
Yes.
man,
I love the
the
live,
live
version.
album was so good.
Yeah.
I literally
the
just said this in the
Do you know
car.
what I mean? Or the
Yeah.
or the concert they did in
Yeah.
that place.
Yeah.
Man, that was the best performance.
Yes.
But it's the same song,
Exactly.
right? So I don't see why that can't be translated
Yeah.
to jokes. You know what
I
I
was
mean?
just thinking about this with reposting clips too, because
Yeah, don't be
I
afraid.
always was like, "Oh, you're not supposed to do that," kind of thing,
No,
and now
not
I'm like,
anymore.
"Oh, wait, who decided that?" Like, you
Yeah.
know, like the same person's not going to see the same clip. I mean, some people will. For
They will,
sure,
and if
right?
they will, they'll
But-
just comment on it. They'll be
Right.
like, "I saw this already," or they'll say, "Man, I love this joke."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I saw,
Yeah.
I mean, I have friends who have done it, and it's, I mean, partly just a testament to my memory, but I'll watch it and I'll be like, I feel like I've seen them post this bit before.
Mhm.
But it's not the exact same clip, it's from a different set.
Mhm.
But I was actually just thinking the other day, going back to the burning the material and shit, it's kind of different.
Burning
now.
the light.
It's
Hey.
I was thinking, what if the light was the material?
You know what I
right?
mean?
And we burn that. But it's like now, because it used to be, when people first started posting clips, it was like, all right, I'm gonna post crowd work clips because I don't want to burn material. And then now people are like, all right, well, I'm going to post material, but it's not quite the same. But it's like, because of the volume that everyone's posting now, you could post your whole special.
That's what I'm doing.
That's what people are
Well,
doing.
yeah.
Recording
But
things and clipping
but
it
it's
out.
more so of like people being like, oh, I put this out, I'm not gonna, now I can't do it anymore. You know, I can't do that hour, or I can't do whatever. But it's not the same as putting out, as someone sitting down and watching the special versus someone just seeing the clips online, like you're saying, because they're seeing that one joke and then they're moving on. They're seeing stuff in between.
Yeah.
So you could put out your whole hour and then still do it.
Yeah.
And people won't be, there'll still be stuff in there that they're like, oh, I never saw this, because that clip never came across their.
I did a show last week. There was somebody in the crowd who was like, I loved your special. I haven't finished it yet. I've watched the first, so I don't care.
No, that's awesome that they came to see you after only watching. Yeah.
And I'm very open about with the special. Like, it's an hour long. It's 10 songs. You don't have to watch the whole thing at once. You could watch one song at a time. I'm releasing all the songs individually in their own video. I've cut up the special into like 100 pieces of content. Some of those clips have already gone viral, gotten millions of views. It does not translate to views on the special. It does not.
Yeah.
I wish it did, but it does not. But it does translate to ticket sales and people just sharing your stuff with people.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the name of the game now. And especially with AI coming through, like, we're gonna have to be like performing live. That's basically where we're gonna make our money, you know.
I love that. I hold that very sacred. You know what I mean? Like, to me, like, this is, if we're gonna get really like woo woo about comedy, but like this is one of the last like live truly art forms where it's, to me, so special, because you're getting feedback immediately, right? Like, this is one of the only art forms where you're literally having this symbiotic relationship. Like, even when you see like a play or something and people are watching it, it's like they're gonna hold their opinion to themselves until the end, right? Comedy is the only thing where they're like, they might be like, oh, or like, give a different they're reacting to everything.
Yeah, and that's why, like, I'm always kind of shocked by comedians who don't really kind of take into consideration their audience, because like you said, this is the only art form where there's a desired outcome. So if somebody buys a ticket for $30, they get a babysitter, they drive an hour, they pay for parking, they pay for chicken fingers.
Give them the show of their life.
Yeah.
Do the best you can on that night.
Yeah.
I feel a certain obligation to my audiences, and if you're somebody who's like, well, I'm an artist and I'm gonna do the jokes I want to do, that's fine. You know what I mean? But I do think about, like, especially like how they have to stretch their dollar. Especially now. When a movie is like $20, right?
Comedy shows are expensive.
And a comedy show is expensive.
2-drink minimum, parking.
I keep my ticket
food,
prices low. My tickets are still $20 and now I raised them to like $30.
Yeah.
But that's still like not on the expensive side.
Right. It's reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, if you go to a Taylor Swift concert, you're going to cry, you're going to laugh. Like, it's going to be different. If you go to a museum, nobody's expecting you to laugh at that piece of art.
Right.
It's just different.
There's more pressure when it's one thing that you're trying to do.
That's the outcome. Like, they gotta laugh. If you can make them feel things during your comedy set, that's an added bonus.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah.
The benefit I have is because I am singing songs, people show up to my shows requesting songs. So I can do the bits over and over.
I don't like musical comics.
You don't
I've decided, because I don't get.
You feel like I'm cheating?
No, I feel like, why do you get to be good at two things? Like, that makes me angry.
And that's what I'm saying. See, that's okay.
No,
you know
pick one. Pick one.
Listen, you have every right to be angry about that. Whereas some comedians are like, oh, they're doing that because they can't
do the
jokes.
Stand up.
And I did jokes for 6 years and I did fine.
There are musical comics who really are bad.
And there really are.
Yeah. Of course, really are. But there's also stand-ups who are really bad.
100%. And if you have the same ratio of musical comedians to stand-ups, I would think the numbers would even out. I think about that with, like, as a woman, you probably get a lot of fucking guff in your comments and shit, and after shows, and dudes are like, ugh. But I would say it's like also just a numbers thing. It's like, first of all, like, stand-up comedy is like not a friendly environment for women to be in. It's like very creepy sometimes. And like I said, comedians are really weird people. And so like, first of all, you're like fighting just to be around at like 1 a.m. at a bar, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's less women who are going to want to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So if you take like 10 male comics and like one of them are funny, and if you apply that same ratio to the number of women who do it,
Mm-hmm.
it's just there's just like less women doing it,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's going to be harder to find like those like the really, really, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's just
yeah,
less.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I think it's just a numbers thing.
welcoming thing.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. I remember I had an ex-girlfriend who I thought was really. She really is funny. I still think she's funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you got to do stand up. Like, I don't know why you're not doing stand up. Like,
Mhm.
you'll go twice as far in half the time
Mm-hmm.
as I would, you know? And she did it for like 3 weeks. She was doing okay. Then she bombed. She was in New York for a couple of weeks. She bombed. She called me crying. She was like, I just felt so bad. I never felt this before. Like, what is going on? I was doing so well last week. I don't understand. And I was like, well, you know, that is part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you can't get past that part,
It's
this ain't
rough.
for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it's also just
And she also got a stalker like in the same 3 weeks. She was
oh,
even doing
amazing.
it.
She hasn't
Oh,
even
nice.
done it
She did it
a
a
month.
month.
then.
Nice. The
Yeah.
and
trifecta.
there was a dude like already like calling
Yeah.
her on her phone somehow.
Hell
and-
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely wild. Like I always just say like part of stand up is just doing it long enough and
Yeah.
sticking it out, because like having the gumption to stick it out, especially for like people who are not straight men,
Yeah.
is really
It's tough.
it's tough.
Yeah.
But I love it. I also love that it's such a shitty place, and I hate to say that. I don't want it to be
Yeah.
as shitty as it is, but I also like I love being in the trenches, if
Mhm.
that makes sense.
Well, I feel like we're cut from a different cloth, like
Mhm.
comedian. We're like in
Mhm.
the trench, like we're in the trenches. We are.
Yeah.
It's we really are in the like the because this is how I know, because any celebrity who has a fall from grace
Tries comedy.
tries comedy. Do you know what I'm saying?
T.I.
Why
Oh,
is
God.
Stormy Daniels,
Yep.
T.I. I think
Yep.
one
One of
Jeremy
the
Piven.
Bachelorette
Griffin.
stars. Some people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they just like everybody thinks they just Jeremy
Yeah.
Piven starts
Oh.
doing stand up.
Did he?
Well, yeah,
You don't know he does stand up?
Yeah, he sells out.
Yeah.
He
He's
sells
gonna
out.
he's gonna be at the club in Madison.
He
Is
sells-
he
this year.
good?
I don't know. I've never seen
never
him
seen
live.
him.
A friend of mine opened for him. I think fans like to come see him. You know?
Yeah.
I think who I saw do stand up. Who's actually good, really good, is King Batch, who's like a YouTuber, TikToker,
Okay.
and he just started doing it a couple years ago, and I did a show with him the other day. He's good. He like does a good job.
Yeah.
Is he like Dave Chappelle? No, but he does a good job.
Mhm,
And I
mhm.
think
if he has his audience already built in, then it's like,
Yeah.
And
I think if he's going to be doing this 5 years, 10 years, 20, he'll be like a legend. He'll be great. Because
Yeah.
also, because he has the audience, he has the ability to,
Yeah.
to develop in front of an audience like that.
I
you
mean,
know what
I
I'm saying?
respect when people who have been doing stand up and then they like blow up. Like Trevor Wallace is a good
Yeah,
example.
he's the
right?
perfect example.
Like he was
Yeah.
doing it for a long time and just happened to go viral because of like short videos and
The
stuff.
Zoomies, yeah.
The thing that I don't like is when people call themselves like comedians on social like content platforms where they're
Yeah.
doing like a funny like, oh, I did this, and then the video ends with them making a funny face, or like stuff that it's like they're making funny content but it's not stand up, and then they try
Right.
to transition to stand up and they don't like try to go through the ranks. They're like immediately like booking rooms that they can't handle, and that's where I always get a little bit like, what
Yeah,
is
it's bad
happening?
for comedy in the sense that
Yeah.
like for a lot of these people, like people coming to my show, it's their first time coming to a show.
Yeah.
And if they go see somebody like that as their first show, then
Mhm.
they're like, what is this?
Is this
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Is this it? Right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, I'm not going to go to a comedy club again,
Right.
so they don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Um,
And I mean, I also part of it fully upfront is that I have a chip on my shoulder. Like I like the working your way up. I like the
I do understand that.
befriending your peers.
Yeah.
I like, I like not having everything served on a
I mean, it
golden
makes sense
platter.
because it's like if you just
Yeah.
go from A to Z, then you're not going
Yeah.
to learn any of the lessons that you would learn along the way. And I feel like we've talked about this a bunch, but
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, you're not, if you go from just doing whatever on your phone to suddenly selling out a theater, you learn nothing of how to behave in a room in an open mic where it's just comics, where no one's
Mhm.
really fucking listening.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that your jokes are bad because no one laughs. It just means that it's a room of comics, so
Yeah.
it didn't catch them off guard, or they just weren't listening to you at all. Or you're not going to learn the shit where you have to go play a fucking bar where no one knows
Mhm.
there's a show going on, and then you have to win over the 5 people who are there every fucking day that are mad at you because
Yeah.
you're interrupting their shit. You know, so
But
it's
those
like
people
you're
who
not
are,
going to
like-
learn any of that to once you get to a theater, you can be like, oh, okay, I have a general idea of how this works. I have the fundamentals down. And then, you know, just based on the size of a venue, it's like, then you have to adjust, all right, hold for laughs or like, you know, whatever. But if you just go from A to Z, it's just like, yeah, no, I've done this a couple times in like a fucking Flappers or whatever, and it went
Yeah.
all right. So yeah, why can't I do this? And it's like, because this isn't just, it's just like when you start stand up and you're like, I just got to go up there and be funny. And it's like, well,
It's tough. Yeah.
there's a lot more than that.
Well, there's also, you know, the people who post sketches online and go viral for them. You know, I do okay with ticket sales right now, but I think that's because when you see my videos, it's literally me performing at clubs.
Yes. Yeah.
So you kind of know what you're gonna get when you see me.
Yeah.
And I have friends and peers who are they're like they'll have more followers, and they're like, I'm not moving tickets like that. And but if you look at their page, it's like a lot of everything. It's like sketches, some stand up, trend, you know. And it's like, well, I think your audience, they don't know what they're really gonna.
Yeah.
they're
That's
gonna
a great
see.
point. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, these people who are watching your videos, again, they're like 25 and under for the most part. They might have never been to a comedy show. So they don't, if they see a sketch, like, what do they expect to see it? They don't know it. So you know, got to kind of spell it out a little bit.
And I feel like there's more character shows now too, where people are doing stand-up shows
Yeah.
as characters.
I feel like that's
and there's
exploded.
always been, you know, people who would do that. I mean, Nick Kroll used to do that, but now it's
Yeah.
like there's so many people from TikTok and social media who do the characters, where it's like, yeah, that's their show. So with that, even that, it's like if that's what you do,
You
then
guys
yeah,
got to start
people
doing
will look.
characters. You guys, you two need to start doing characters.
Oh,
if-
this
I'm
is a
just kidding.
character.
I'm
I'm British. This is a
and
this is a
you
character.
actually
Yeah.
you're French. Don't ever
Oh,
forget.
well,
I
that's a second
actually
character.
think like characters are such a good way to enter comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's how they always pull SNL cast members, right? Like
Yeah.
people are able to bring different things, and I think that's why like improv is so successful. But like
Yeah.
I really love like John is it John Early who does
Yeah.
the Vicky character.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
Mama wants her
you
denim.
know, like I
Gradu-
think that
graduated with
stuff
him.
is so funny. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why
Kate
to go
Berlant.
You know, I think there is a place. I know like Becky Robinson like does some like golf stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that,
she's
you know.
killing it. She's selling.
Yeah. So I'm not opposed to it at all because to me it's
Yeah.
like drag. Like and I
Yeah.
love drag, you know.
Yeah.
So I just don't think like I think a lot of what I write
I'm
is
not watching
such
this season. Are
a
you caught up?
of
Drag
Drag
Race?
Race, yeah.
You caught
Oh
up?
yeah,
I'm not
it's
watching it right
juicy.
now.
I watched
It's
my
so
first
juicy.
episode a
Yeah.
couple weeks ago.
Which
I got into it
season?
during the
It was a
the,
lot.
during the
Which
pandemic.
season?
I got
was
into it.
whatever the most recent, the
Oh.
one that's on right now.
Okay, watch season 5 if you haven't already. Season 5 and 6.
I was really high, and it was with a bunch of gay dudes, and I was just like,
okay.
this is a whole different world.
It
There
is
was a lot going on, and they
You know
were
what
like
it is?
really
There's,
talking
are
about
you
it,
watching
and I
the
was
current
just like,
season?
I just watched one episode from the
Okay,
current
so there's
season.
just so much.
You don't
now.
know. You don't know.
Yeah, and
like,
that's
you-
what I
you'd
was
have
like.
to-
know.
You'd have to go back and like learn the drama.
No, that's what,
Yes.
and that's what I got. Is
And
I
there's,
was
like-
like,
And there's
oh,
drama
okay.
behind, like
Yeah.
even that's not even film. Like
Yes.
you have to be in the community.
Yeah.
Because if you go to West Hollywood, they have full like watch parties or like
Yes.
That's
hamburger
basically what it
Marys.
was, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, this isn't even something I can just jump into. This is like,
Yeah.
I need to know the lore, the
I'm already
canon.
too far behind. That's why I haven't. Like I would watch with my
Who's your favorite drag queen?
Katya.
Thank you.
I think
Thank you. I've seen her.
I had like a
She's-
full on crush on Katya.
Me too.
I
love
remember I watched
Katya.
that season. I was like, Katya's kind of like
She's kind of
charismatic and
Yeah.
like hot and
Yeah.
yeah.
She should have won. I'm gonna say it.
She shoulda
shoulda
won. Yeah,
She
Shoulda won. No,
was
shoulda
robbed.
won.
No, she was robbed.
She shoulda won, yeah.
And that's a joke.
I
And
mean,
if
if
you know,
we-
then you know.
Yeah.
If we want to talk Love Island, hey, I can.
Oh, Love Island. I don't know
Oh.
anything about.
I can't
Yeah.
do the dating
I've been
reality
watching the
shows.
new season. They air it every day, and I've been watching it and just being able to keep up with it, and now being able to look at the shit on Twitter. It's an experience.
I need to
It's a
get
very
you
fun
hooked.
experience.
There's a Bosnian reality TV show that is filmed 24/7. So
Oh,
you
really?
just hop in
Oh,
live
okay.
and you watch it 24/7.
Yeah, it's like a Big Brother.
Oh, like a
thing.
Big Brother thing.
Oh,
Big
is
Brother's
that how Big
huge.
Brother works?
Big
Yeah.
Brother's huge in Brazil.
Okay.
People love Big Brother in
Yeah.
Brazil.
Well, okay, so the Love Island thing just tripped me up now because I was watching and I was really high, and I was like, they don't know about the submarine.
Oh, you
Oh,
mean
yeah,
the
they
people
don't
being
know about the
filmed?
The people
Submarine.
that are in the show, because they have no outside contact, they don't know. So unless the producers tell them, or someone new comes in and is like, yo, y'all ain't gonna fucking
They
believe
don't need
what
to. Know,
happened.
they don't need to know about it.
They don't need to know, but it made me think of when 9/11 happened, and I'm pretty sure on the real world, the producers were like, all right, we have to show you this because this happened. So they like brought in a TV
But on
and
Real
showed
World,
them.
they don't show that. I thought they show them stuff on the Real World. I used to
No.
want to be on that show so bad.
Oh, same. I
wanted to
auditioned
be on the
before I
Real
moved
World.
to Seattle.
Isn't it crazy Theo Vaughn was on Road Rules?
Yeah.
Yeah. He
No,
was
wow.
funny. I remember
He was
him on.
funny.
I used to watch it when I was a kid. I remember him, and I remember at one of the challenges they were showing them all the dudes working out, and he was just in the weight room, and he just goes, "Man, if this was a bowl of pasta, this be testosterone." And I fucking died, and it stuck with me ever since.
But you like dumb humor.
Yeah,
No
but that was
offense.
just it
Doodle
was
emoji.
so like it was perfect,
Yeah.
and everyone was like they're like, "Shut the fuck up, dude."
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah,
Yeah.
he was on there. Christina P was on Road Rules
Yeah.
too.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, Christina
Yeah.
P was on Road Rules. That's right.
I think I
Yeah.
only ever watched one season of it. And I
Road Rules?
Yeah.
It's pretty
Did
good.
you think Road Rules or Real World? Which one was better?
Real
I
World.
don't know. I've never
Real
seen
World,
Real
hands
World,
down.
I don't think.
I just remember that
Yeah.
one season in Seattle and
Slap.
the slap.
Yeah, he opens the fucking door.
The
slaps her.
slap. It was such a juicy slap.
Yeah.
I'll have to
This
get caught
gay
up.
black man. Wait, but he wasn't in. Did he come out? Or was he in the closet? She
Oh, I
said
don't
something about
know.
him being in a closet, maybe.
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
But she was in the van.
Did she deserve it?
And he
I think so. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think so, yeah. And he like
Probably.
he goes out to the van and this is before they opened automatically and like opens the door and she's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then he like slaps her and then like closes the door again. I'm pretty sure he closes the
I
door.
love
And
that.
then he walks off.
I think
Oh,
we should all slap more people, you know?
Yeah. Assault is.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know if
fun.
I
Yeah.
just
Until
want to be on
somebody
the
walks
record.
up to you and slaps you, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, hey.
And you're like, wait a second. I don't know
Everyone
if I
has a
like
plan
this.
What did
until
I
they
do?
get
I'd
punched
be
in
like,
the
what did
face.
I do?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I am.
All right, let's get to these juicy
Yeah.
speaking of the gossip bench.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get to the hot goss.
Lead us in, Elliot. Lead us in. No, don't. Not the voice.
What are some crazy? You gotta have some stories, Morgan. You've been
Well,
all over the place.
Yeah. I've
Got a lovely voice.
I've traveled the country. I've been around town. I did some shows in San Diego. And I was there with a buddy, and I'd never been to San Diego. We were very
Okay.
close to the border. And he goes,
Mhm.
"We're going to go to Tijuana."
TJ.
And I said, "Okay." So
Was this a fellow comic or just
Yeah,
a friend?
fellow comic.
Okay.
So we're going to go to Hong Kong. And I said, "We're going to Tijuana."
Yeah.
He said, "No. There's a place in Tijuana
You don't
called
get
Hong
it.
Okay.
Place in Tijuana. Have you heard of Hong Kong?
No.
What they don't want you to
have
know.
you heard of
Hong
Hong
Kong
Kong?
is really in Tijuana.
Hong
No.
Kong is in Tijuana.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a strip club, but like on crack. And it's like essentially it's a whorehouse. And it was interesting. I mean, like they had like dildos on drill bits,
Drildos.
and they'd be like you know, the woman would hand it to you and be like, "Put it in my pussy, put it in." Like my buddy took a lollipop. I'm sure this interview won't come back to bite me in the ass in 5 years when I'm trying to book a role on a Marvel TV show.
Well,
But
no,
they-
just your buddy did it.
Yeah, my buddy
Yeah.
did. I
Yeah,
was just
you
there.
were just
I was
there.
an observer.
You were
an
in the
accomplice.
corner
Yeah.
reading a Bible.
I was in the corner and I said, "You guys are terrible.
Yeah.
You're so bad."
I'm
I
here
don't-
to supervise. I'm
Yeah.
just here to
Yeah.
supervise.
But
yeah, you were. It's like that classic tweet where the dude's like reading Mein Kampf on the subway, but shaking my head so everyone knows I don't agree with it. That's what you were in the corner just shaking your head.
Yeah, it was really. I think at one point he like took a lollipop out of a woman's vagine with his mouth, and then the
so
thing,
they're really like
It's
a
aggressive.
circus.
There's
Wait, which
like
side is out?
A whorehouse.
huh?
Which side is out? Stick side or pop
Oh
side?
my
No,
god.
but like I think the candy is on the side that you would put on his mouth. Is that-
Oh, okay.
She's not
That
gonna put.
is-
She's
So
gonna,
the stick is in.
you would never put a lollipop in your vagine.
Yeah, no,
'Cause
I'd,
of-
I'd
I mean,
never do
personally,
that.
I would never, but I'm hearing things now.
I'm just
How
saying,
else are you gonna get
'cause
that
I,
gum?
I know how HP
Yeah.
is and good bacteria. There's like a whole woman's vagina is a
Yeah.
wild place.
It's a wonderful
Yeah.
place.
You know,
Yeah.
as I say that, I'm just
Oh,
trying
that
to.
woman has a UTI for sure.
For
It's a
sure.
whole
For
different
sure.
biome down
Yeah.
And so, but it's also like, you know, essentially there's like a little hotel upstairs
Yeah.
where, and when you're there, the women will walk around and like tap you on your pee-pee, and they'd be like, "Hey, papi, would you like? Give me a drink. You want a drink? I'll see we maybe get a drink."
You're like crazy good at this.
But I also like how you're looking down, so it looks like
Come
they're
here.
talking to your dick.
yeah.
And so you try to, you're like, no, I'm good. And they're like, I'm not talking to you.
But it's so
the
hard.
kiss is insane.
But it's so hard.
The-
But that's the thing. It's so they do that because it's so hard to not.
Yeah.
You're like you're walking around like, eh. You're like literally like this little cute little dog.
So break it down for me. So are you sitting? Are you walking around?
just walking around.
Is it packed?
It is a this place was a multi-level strip club. And and not only was it multi-level, the other levels, the floor is see-through. It's plexiglass.
That's pretty cool.
I absolutely hate that.
That's pretty cool.
No, I absolutely
that's
hate that.
pretty cool.
Well, at least
No,
for some
no,
of it.
no.
Some of it was like plexiglass.
Wait, so you did a show and then drove straight to Tijuana, and then this is the first thing that you're seeing?
Yeah, and again, I've never been to a strip club before, so this is like not what a strip club in
yeah,
America
you're
is
really
like.
jumping into the deep end.
This was insane, you know, and people are smoking cigarettes inside, and it was just a lot going on. And then
we were like, that's
and then what happens is
disgusting.
like you hang out with somebody, and then the girl will like, you want to go upstairs, and then you go upstairs. I of course would never do that. I don't know anything about
you're shaking
that.
your head.
You
I
don't
would shake
fuck
in
it
your
all. You're
head.
actually a virgin.
I'm actually a virgin, but
Yeah.
but from what I heard
Double virgin.
was it's you'll go into the room, and then if you leave, like there's men waiting to like flip the room. Like immediately there's like
Oh, that actually comforts
it's like
me.
housekeeping.
yeah,
That
there's like
comforts me.
immediate, like they're waiting and
Housekeeping.
they're like waiting, and
Yeah.
I'm staying
I
up.
love that it's men. I love that it's men. That
Yeah, they're
Housekeeping.
they're
Yeah.
waiting.
You want me to jack you off?
No, full disclosure. I as a comedian, like you want to try the gambit of life experience, and for me, it just was a matter of like
Yeah.
I want to know what this experience was
How
like.
old were you? May I ask?
Oh, this must have been like 5 or 6 years ago.
Okay.
I'm 36 now,
Yeah.
so I never partied. I didn't take my first bong rip until like freshman year of college.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, dude.
And I don't think I ever binge drinked until I was in college. You know, I threw up for the first time like I think like junior year of college or something.
Okay.
Same.
But I'll be honest with you,
So you're in your prime now.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
You're doing all the experiences now.
yeah, and well, it's good now because I'm like responsible. I have money, and like not like when I say I have money, I don't want to say like I have like a comma in my bank account.
No, you can
I'm not
like
living
yeah,
paycheck to paycheck,
Yeah. We
you
got you. Yeah.
So
Also, your brain's developed.
Yeah.
But the experience for me, I could not perform. I felt uncomfortable. Like I said before the podcast, it felt like a Best Buy. I felt like
Yeah.
I was trying to be like people were trying to upsell me on
It's
like
not
different
natural.
experience. It's not natural, and
Yeah, how do they do that? Do they tell you how much something is before they?
yeah, they'll tell you what different things are and like the rules and things like that.
Okay.
And yeah, it wasn't for me. Like I didn't really do anything.
Is there like
I
a
just-
menu that you get?
You don't get like a paper menu.
Yeah.
But
QR codes these
See, I'm-
days.
I just remember
They were actually the first ones to do that.
Yeah, they were,
for sanitary reasons.
I just
Yeah.
remember like I couldn't get it up. And she's like, "Papi, give me the milk, though. Papi, give me the milk. Dame la leche. Por favor, give me the milk." And I was like, this is not working for me.
Oh,
That's not helping
God.
me.
We're out of
Yeah.
milk.
We're out
Yeah.
of the milk.
Is 2%
it's-
okay?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is not working for me.
Yeah.
I'm either thinking of like menu on the wall
Yeah.
where everything's there,
Yeah.
or they give you the little speech where all that and go over the rules. But for me, it reminds me of in laser tag when they like go over all the rules and shit beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys ever have to do that?
I've done laser tag once.
Oh yeah.
You remember when they're like, all right, don't hit people, don't blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
If you have
Yeah.
a problem, yell game master and we'll come out. If you're pregnant. Oh, they would always ask in Madison, there's a place called Ultrazone still around, which is wild.
Which is
Good for
funny
them.
with
Congrats.
with this place. They say if she's pregnant, you have to. No, they don't do that. I
Oh
just
my
Oh,
don't
no,
do
God.
but
I
they
was
would-
like,
they-
no,
it. No.
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 But you-
shut this place down.
well, but you
Yeah.
have to figure out if she's pregnant, and that's part of the whole. That's the fun
That's
part,
the
you know.
scheme.
That's the
Yeah,
game.
It's just a very, and also there's a lot of guilt with being there. I just like felt bad a little
That's-
bit for
yeah.
these women, and I just like
That's interesting because you're very sex positive.
I am, but I don't know what the politics of it is like in Mexico because I
Right.
feel like the cartel
regulations.
might have something to do with these places.
Yeah. Like, how bad do the women want to be there versus being coerced into?
I don't know, and I don't
Yeah.
know. So because I have friends who are sex workers
Yeah.
that like work in adult entertainment and things like that, but I'm not I don't feel bad for them because
It's their choice.
they're their choice
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
like empowered. They love their job and
Yeah.
but in this sense, I just don't know to what extent
Mm-hmm.
who is there
Mm-hmm.
because they want to be there.
Yeah, you don't
Right.
know
Do you
who
know what I- do you know what I'm
actually
saying?
who
Yeah.
actually wants the
Yeah.
milk and who
Who
is
wants-
Yeah.
just
Who wants
asking,
a good,
Right.
healthy
just going through the
breakfast.
motions.
Right.
Yeah, so
I want you to want the milk.
Yeah.
You know?
so to
Yeah.
that extent, so like I've never been back there after that. But if I did that kind of experience again, like you'd have to like find a way to kind of detach yourself. I mean, look, we
Yeah.
detach ourselves from bad things all the time. I mean, like
Yeah.
Sure.
a boat like capsized with 700 people on it during the
Mhm.
whole submarine
Mhm.
fiasco, and
No
nobody
one
gave a shit.
cared. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like we're turning a blind eye like to a lot of things. So you just kind of like have to,
Mhm.
if you want to enjoy that experience, like learn how to detach or something.
Yeah.
So
what happened after? So you guys wrap up your evening there, and then you just
Dude, I
drive
wanted-
back and
You
do another
wrap
show,
up your
Dude,
evening.
or
It was
what
like-
happened?
it was like 5 a.m, and if people don't know me, I am not a big party animal. I
I'm
wanted
kind of shocked by that.
I wanted to go home so bad. So bad,
Really?
yeah.
You were like, can I pay
No,
for
not
the
only
room
that,
for an hour just to nap?
We couldn't get back over. Like we paid some rando Mexican dude. You have to walk back over the border,
Yes.
right? Like there's like 2 different ways. You walk back,
Mhm.
or there's like a big line to get back on like a Saturday night. It's like a nightmare if you don't hit
Okay.
the right. We get back over the border. We can't find a ride back to where we're staying.
No.
So this guy, like, I want to say like in like a 1995 Toyota Corolla, packed like 6 dudes into his car and drove. It was like it was a terrible. I hated it. I wanted to
Insane.
throw up. It was the worst.
I'm kind of surprised you don't party.
Yeah, I don't even when I give myself permission to party, I don't even.
Yeah, like after shows, you don't like
No.
go out or anything.
No.
Interesting.
And especially on tour, I'm pretty boring.
Yeah, I mean, it's
So
people don't realize how grueling tour.
Yeah,
is.
and I like prepare for tour like I'm
Yeah.
for like a marathon. You know, like
oh
I
yeah,
run.
how do you with musical? Are you just like running your?
I run.
You just
I
running.
exercise. I do vocal exercises.
Yeah.
When I am traveling, I don't really smoke weed. I don't really drink alcohol.
Yeah.
Unless I know the next day, like I have a night off, maybe I'll have a drink.
Mhm.
I don't even stay up late. You know,
Yeah.
to the conversation we were having before, where it was like sometimes I'll hook up with somebody on the road.
Yeah.
Like it like the stars really have to align.
Yeah.
You
Walk
know-
us through like best case scenario for you.
Best case scenario.
I do just want to say real quick, when you were talking about preparing, the first thing that hopped into my mind was 50 Cent from the In the Club video,
Oh, yeah,
where
of
he's on the
course. And
treadmill
then
and you
he's,
have
like,
all the
doing
tubes
the-
and shit.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is that what you do something
No.
like that? You're doing the upside
love
down.
that
No,
music.
but I'll,
Yeah, yeah.
But I'll run a 5K every other day or every 2 days, something like
Okay.
Okay.
that.
For charity?
Just to
Okay.
no for charity.
All right. Hey, for the love of the game. I
All
For
see
the
right.
love of the game.
Yeah. Fuck
I
those
just
kids
started
with
working with
cancer.
I just started working with a trainer. But yeah, best case scenario, somebody might DM me
Okay.
and is like, "Hey, like I'm coming to your show and I think I could spice up your life or something."
Ooh,
And I'm like,
you like us DM before?
Oh, if somebody does it, you know.
Okay.
It's good to give advanced
but
warning.
that's
Well, I'm doing this so that his fans can know what to do.
That's
All right. I'll throw it out there too.
Or-
Advance is good.
or
Put it in the planner.
or like
Put it in the schedule.
or like I do the show, I sell my merch, I take my photos. Usually by that time it's like 10:30.
Okay.
I never really schedule a flight really early in the morning.
Because
and-
you know you're fucking.
Well, or I just want to be able to sleep in. The thing is,
Just
I
wants
try to
sleep. Yeah.
The thing is, I just want to sleep in.
Have a nice breakfast.
He wants to go down to
maybe.
Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And then somebody might DM me after the show or stay after the wait for the line to die down and
Okay.
straight up be like, "What are you doing after this? I want to hang out with you."
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not trying to go to a bar after a show. Second location.
Yeah.
I'm down to like have
That's-
I'm
yeah.
down to have a drink at the club or a drink at the hotel,
Okay.
and that's kind of like
Okay.
that's it. And then there's no sleepovers.
Well, they do say if you go to a second
Oh,
location,
okay.
that's you're most likely
Murdered.
to get murdered. So
yeah,
that's
there's
smart.
There's no.
Have you ever been in a situation with someone that you're hooking up with, like after a show or something, and you're like, I gotta make a fast exit? Like they end up being really crazy or something's
You're like,
off.
I gotta
I-
give them the milk and get out of here.
I haven't.
Like, have
I
you had a
give it in
bad
the leche.
experience?
No, not
Gotta give and go.
necessarily. I think if you see my show and the fact that I feel like I talk pretty openly about this sort of
Mhm.
stuff, like I think it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
You know, I think like I'm very also clear about like the role I like to play in the bedroom. I'm like a
Mhm.
pretty dominant person in the bedroom.
So they know what they're getting.
They should,
Okay.
you know, and I don't want anybody to be, and also like I always say, I'm like, hey, like if you're not into this and you don't want to
Yeah.
be here, like that's cool too. Like I don't ever, like I said, I'll take a nice night of sleep also.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if somebody's not into it, I'm like, hey, if you're not into it, I'm not gonna take it personally. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna be like, you're not into it. Because I think what happens is, we were talking about this. You see somebody on stage, you have this sort of image of them, right? And then you have built this fantasy of what you think you want,
Yeah.
but you might not. Like when I went to Hong Kong, I thought this is cool. Like all these women are gonna be like hot and like, you know, but it's like and they're very beautiful women, but the actual experience,
Uggos.
but the actual experience is like not
It's not
what
what
I'm
you
looking for.
expect.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I like some sort of connection or
Yeah.
I want to know them like a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
And then you know, you might show up thinking you want the daddy experience, but you don't want that.
Yeah.
But you want
You
the
know.
milk.
Yeah. It's
The
interesting.
daddy experience is very it's like a very, you know, buckle up. You
Yeah.
know? And also like I'm down, right?
Yeah.
But if you're like not sure if you're into it,
Then it makes you not. Then
and
you're
then I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know. Listen, I remember I was in Chicago. I had hooked up with a girl, and I like, we just kind of, I don't know. It just wasn't for me. It wasn't like I stopped in the middle of it. And I was just sort of like, because she was kind of dominant too. She was like telling me what to do,
Okay.
and I was like, you
And
know,
you're like,
I think this is what's happening. I think like,
Daddy don't like you.
yeah,
She-
and I
Well,
don't
she
think
was
she,
like,
I don't
"Mommy,
think she
do."
wanted to call me that either. And I think it was like, I just was like, hey, I think
Yeah.
like I'm sort of this way, and like you're this way, and
Not compatible.
and I'm like,
yeah.
you're really beautiful and attractive. I just don't know if like this, you know.
And how did that go over?
Like we ended up hooking up. Like we completed the mission,
The transaction. Yeah.
but the transaction.
The milk was delivered.
But I don't know if it was as good as it could have been. Because also like I
Right.
just met that person that night,
yeah.
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 and you know, and I think like the first fuck with anybody is always a little bit awkward.
Yeah.
You're not quite 100% yourself. You know what I mean? And you're a little
Yeah.
bit nervous. Like, did you have too many mozzarella sticks? Like,
For sure.
like,
always. I
are
always
we-
have one too many.
like, are we holding in farts? Are we bloated? Like,
Yeah.
am I
Are we
gassy?
holding in farts?
Am
Are
I
we
too?
farting?
Are we too drunk? Like, you know?
Totally. Yeah. I think so. It's interesting. We were talking about this before because I think like comics fuck a lot. I mean, like it's okay, not you. But I
nobody
mean, like
messages me.
especially dude comics though. Like dude comics, they can be like mediocre funny, and then women will be like, "Oh my god, he has a personality." And I love women. Okay, I do, but like we're like, we meet someone who's kind of funny, kind of nice, and we're like getting my pants. If
And
you're even slightly attractive, it's like, come on, let's go.
Don't get me wrong.
You know?
I love women.
I
all
do.
right?
But
But if
But
it's
I'm
a woman that's
disappointed in
a
them sometimes.
no, I
if
am.
it's a-
Sometimes I go to shows and I'm
said, really?
disappointed.
if it's a woman
Yeah.
that's a musical comedian,
Oh, she's
don't
not
even
fucking.
come near
She's not
Ariana.
fucking.
all
Oh, no,
right?
she's not
She'll
fucking.
knock.
No,
she'll choke
she's
you out
not
on
getting
sight.
approached. Well, I always tell this story. So I did a show in Chicago, and it was just like a short set. And this guy who was producing it, like, gave me a spot. And so the show ends, great time, whatever, blah blah blah. Right? We're leaving, and I'm trying to like say thank you to the guy who produced it. And as I'm like leaving, there's a line of women waiting to talk to him, and he had a fine set. He opened, like, it wasn't, he didn't demolish.
This is
It was
Chicago,
a fine.
huh?
This is in Chicago.
Oh.
And there's a line of women waiting to talk to him, and I was trying to go to another spot, and so like I kind of like quickly was just like, hey, I'm headed out, thank you so much for having me. And I got like death daggers to me.
Who was it?
Oh, the girls
know
were giving
this
you death
story.
daggers
Yeah,
because they were like, "Who the fuck is this?"
well,
bitch?
they're waiting in line to see if they
Can
have a
get it.
chance with him. Do you know what
God,
I
who is
mean?
this guy?
Yeah, who was it?
Tell me
It's like
afterwards.
I-
We'll bleep it out.
No,
No,
tell
tell me
you guys
afterwards.
after.
Tell me after.
Oh, I want to know.
Is he
And-
funny?
Yeah, he's but I mean that night he opened, like he cold opened. It's like, you know, he did
Yeah.
fine, but it wasn't like amazing material.
Jerry Seinfeld.
You know?
Yeah.
Um, And he like,
Kevin
and
Hart.
it was just so funny. And I've told him this story too, where I'm just like, it was just so funny to me that there was a literal line of women waiting to talk to you after you did 5 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes.
So can you imagine being the headliner?
I know, exactly. This is what I'm saying. And I was like, as a woman, people are like, oh, like, you know, like you must get approached a lot too. And it's like, no, absolutely
different
not.
for women,
It's so
for sure.
different for women versus men in comedy.
Because also,
But I don't also care for that. So it's like, I don't care. But, you know.
I mean, if we're looking at traditional gender roles,
yeah.
I mean, I read this whole book called Laughter. It's like a scientific survey about
Mhm.
laughter, and it was talking about how, I mean, what's the number one thing a woman looks for in a man?
Mhm.
What is it?
Nice teeth.
Oh, okay. Well, most people would say a good sense of humor.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And that's a whole like
Mhm.
that's like a whole what's the word, like evolutionary thing. It's like,
Mhm.
you know, making a woman laugh, you're lowering her
Stress,
her
cortisol.
her
Yeah.
cortisol, her barriers, her defenses.
Yeah.
If you could be charming and charismatic,
Yeah.
she's more likely to sleep with you. That's like literally what this book is saying. You know what I mean?
Yes, sure.
They did a study that was like, when women are talking, the woman is laughing like 70% of the time,
Mhm.
and the man is doing most of the talking.
Mm.
I don't know if that's just because men like to talk about themselves, or just they're trying to like
That
get in
feels
their
right.
pants. You know what I mean?
What's this book called?
It's called Laughter. It's just called Laughter. And it's
Okay.
like, it just talks about how, you know,
Mhm.
and they also, funny side note, most times when people are laughing, they're like telling their own story.
Yeah.
They're like laughing at their own
I
story.
laugh
In
at
most
my own
cases,
shit all the time.
like, there you did it. You did it. You did it. Neither of us laughed, but we're laughing. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's a disarming
Well, that's
thing.
because
Yeah.
I support women.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I want the women to laugh.
Well, can I ask you this too?
Yeah.
Do you so I know you play this like dominant role in bed, but do you enjoy that women approach you after shows? Because I feel like part of it for a lot of male comics is that they like being fawned over. They like that they don't have to like work for it. They like
Yeah.
being in this like, it's kind of like a power thing, to be honest, in my view.
I mean, obviously, I
Yeah.
think it's nice to not have to. I mean, I'll be real with you. Like,
Mhm.
without, because I got into comedy because I wanted attention and I wanted girls to like me, to the point where I remember I was like 5 years in, I was doing a show in Brooklyn,
Mhm.
and there was like 30 people there, but they were all guys in the crowd. So somehow it just turned out that way. It was like a
Mhm.
bar, just like no women showed up that
And
night.
boy, did you fuck that
And it was a
night.
gay bar. No, I'm just kidding. And I realized I was at a gay bar. No, it was
all these dudes.
Yeah.
What is this?
But I felt like my motivation
That's a
to do
horrible
the show
motivation. Yeah.
it wasn't
depleted.
there. And I remember I had to like have a talk with myself, and it was like, all right, so you just really realize why you're doing this, man.
That's sad.
You know, so you're like, you know,
You're like, I don't love jokes. I don't like making people laugh. I love fucking.
But then again, like, why do guys do, like, you know, why do men do most things, right? They want
Sure.
they want women, like, why do men build bridges or whatever shit, you know?
Mhm.
But it was sort of like, all right, am I gonna do this and like enjoy the craft and like really, you know, why you want to do this? So there's a lot of different ways you can get
Mhm.
girls to like you and get attention.
Mhm.
Or are you gonna like really delve into this?
Yeah.
You know, I think it was an attention thing because I also went to theater school, you know, and
Oh,
wanting
you were
attention.
a theater geek.
Yeah, theater kid.
Okay.
And but I think stand up also was just like just felt like such a rock star thing. you know?
Theater kids fuck too.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, they fuck each other.
Not as much
Yeah.
as band kids, but
Oh,
for
the
sure.
theater kids
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we've all
I
seen
mean, my first
Glee.
makeout sesh was with a theater girl.
Of
Oh, yeah.
course.
Like, I
Yeah.
had like
In
a full
makeup?
hickey. Came home with
Yeah.
a full hickey.
Yeah.
Was
I
she
love
in
that.
the old woman makeup?
That's
Oh
fierce.
my god!
I always love seeing that in person after a show because
This girl's so cute.
it's like
and
you
it's
don't.
always like the people playing siblings.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But it's like you don't realize how
I'm saying.
how much theater makeup is different than real makeup.
Yeah.
And then you see them, you're like, oh yeah, they look old. And then you see them in person, and it's like
Yeah.
the most obvious lines just
Yes.
like on their
Oh,
face.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh okay, that's pretty funny.
Yeah,
It's pretty hot.
it's yeah. I mean, I don't know where I was
Yeah.
going, but yeah. Well, you had asked me. Oh yeah, if they approach me, like it is good because without me doing singing or doing comedy, like if I see an attractive girl at a bar, like I'd probably be too nervous to talk to her.
Really?
Not anymore, but like in the past, yeah.
Yeah. When's the last? Well, because you're in a relationship, so like, when's the
Yeah.
last time like you've truly approached a woman? You know what I mean?
No,
so
never.
It's
Like so, and it's been so long.
that is so wild.
Women
Yeah.
aren't even the same anymore.
Yeah,
So it's
we're
like
completely different.
they got
We've
an update.
changed.
They got an
Yeah.
update.
Yeah.
New iOS.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think it's interesting. I also think that you have to be a certain personality to approach a comic after a show. You got to be bold, you know, so you're already putting that out there. So you might as well just
But
go
like
the
my
distance.
show is so clearly like I want everybody to have sex.
Yeah, you've
the
laid it
show.
out on the line. It's truthfully, it's in your material.
I
What
tell-
shocks me is when people don't do any sex material and they're fucking.
Has anyone
Yeah.
like really started to go at it during one of your shows in the crowd?
There was actually I had a clip of this it actually got taken down by TikTok because
Too spicy.
this couple was like so drunk in the second row. Because I get people to kiss on their first or second date sometimes. I get people to get their first kiss.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I'm a big first, second, or third date kind of act.
Okay.
People know the energy I put in the room.
Yeah.
And this one couple they were there. They've been together for a minute. This was at a Don't Tell show, and I was like, all right, guys, give each other a kiss. Full on sloppy drunk makeout,
Let's
like in
go.
front of everybody. And then I go, do some hand stuff, like as a joke. I said, do hand stuff now. I go, do some hand stuff. And like without a beat, she was so ready. And the guy was like, babe, we're like, there's literally a show going on. He was like, he was drunk, but not drunk enough for that to like.
Wow.
I was like, no, stop, please don't. Like, I was joking. Don't. But do.
Yeah.
but do.
Oh my
but
God.
Don't. But do it.
You like move one row back,
I'm
so
telling
you're
you,
just
they would
out
have
of the
fucked each
light.
other if we gave them the opportunity.
I did a show at a brewery recently. I don't know if I told you about this.
No.
And we get there, and the show's just about to start. There is a couple on, like, it was like kind of like one of those picnic bench tables. You know how breweries will have those sometimes. And they're both sitting on one side. There's a huge dog in between them, and they are straddling the bench, both of them. The dog is in between them, and they are full on, like, straddling each other, making out, dog in the middle. And the dog is just like looking.
Wait, so they're making out over the dog?
How
That's
big is the dog? Is it
disrespectful.
this big?
Disrespectful. No, huge dog.
Like a Beethoven
And
size?
we're all sitting there. I remember it was like me, Laura Peak, Nick Harris, he, not a comic, but a manager. We were laughing so hard because we couldn't believe it, and they're literally came just hanging out to see the show, but they weren't watching the show. I think there was like exhibitionist shit or something, but it
Long
was
hair or
like
short hair dog?
short hair.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure if I remember.
Long hair, I would be like,
You
get some
freaks.
hair in there, you know?
I mean,
it's-
it
I
was,
wonder how early on in the relationship.
and then they
works.
were like going at it,
Or
and
whose
like
dog it was.
hand
I like
up
that.
this, like it was a lot, and then they go outside, and then they're back, and then they leave, and then they're up against that. I'm just like, oh my God,
Big
just
fan
like,
of that energy.
but just go home a little bit. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to pay for the
I say
comedy
that in my
show.
sets sometimes.
You
I
don't
say,
have to pay.
I'll be like, what are you guys doing here? Go home and fuck each other.
Exactly.
You're wasting time being
Yeah.
here.
Well, you
When I do
should.
colleges, I say, Lee, go to your dorm.
But comedy
Hook up
is
with each other.
an aphrodisiac.
Well, yeah, laughter. It makes everybody. I
exactly.
mean, I'm doing most of the legwork for people.
Yeah, I know.
mean, I'll tell
you
you
should
what.
charge an extra fee.
I'm
If you
saying.
fuck tonight, you owe me. Like you have
Venmo.
to send
Put
me
your
a
Venmo
Venmo.
Dude, I
out
did a
there.
show at the Improv.
Yeah.
I brought some guy on stage. He was there with his ex,
Fucked him.
and I fucked him on stage.
Right in the ass.
No,
with the
they,
dildo.
They were. They were.
Let me show you something I learned in Hong Kong.
They were.
Worldwide, baby.
Is
They
there
were
a
like.
plug around here? or something?
Yeah.
They were like on and off, I guess, and you know, long story short, he DM'd me. He was like, "Hey, we actually," because they got into a fight,
Yeah.
and then they ended up hooking up. Like that night, he DM'd me. He was like, "Hey, we
No,
had
you're
fun." I was
also.
like,
Do you realize how many also toxic relationships you've started?
100%.
Let's go. Two sides to every coin.
Oh my God.
Well, shit, let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice you would give? Could be comedy, could be music,
Could be sex.
could be making out, could be
Yeah.
how to behave in Hong Kong.
Yeah, well, as far as sex, I think the biggest thing that changed my experience, I think I heard this sex therapist on a podcast or something, and she was like, if you remove the equation, if you remove the orgasm out of the equation for both people, then what does a sexual experience look like?
Oh, interesting.
Because I think for men, it's very outcome based,
Mm-hmm.
and for women, it's, you know,
It's the ambiance.
it's a whole
Income
yeah,
vibe.
based.
yeah.
No, like a lot of things got to line up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to work on a joke about this, about like a lot of things got to line up. You know what I mean?
Oh, I have a great idea for you. We'll talk after.
You know, like a lot of
Yeah.
things got to line up. So if it's just like a sense of play, if you're just like playing with each other,
Mm-hmm.
then it becomes like a fun, no pressure thing.
Yeah.
You know, unless like you have a significant other and you guys have kids or you work, and you're like, hey, honey, this is the only time we're gonna be able to fuck. You know,
Yeah.
like then I get it. Then like we both better like get off and figure this shit out.
Right.
You know.
Right.
But that's what I would say. As far as comedy goes, you probably want to focus on your social media game now more than ever. And I hate to say that as somebody who started this without once like YouTube was just
The before
starting.
times.
The
Yeah.
before I'm 36.
Yeah.
So I've seen the
Iterations.
for me I wanted to be on the Tonight Show and
Mhm.
I've never been on any of those shows.
Comedy
Mhm.
Central.
But I could tell you I sell more tickets
Oh yeah.
than some of the people who've been on those shows now.
100%.
I'm not saying I sell a shit ton. I'm just saying we know with people like Trevor Wallace and Matt Rife,
Yeah.
this other guy, Nate Jackson, perfect examples who are
Mhm.
selling out venues
Mhm.
strictly on social media posts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, figure out how to do that. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
it's frustrating, but you got to figure out how to do it. I hate to say it. And if you're in
Yeah.
any artistic field, any business that you run yourself, if you are not using
Yeah.
social media,
And you can do it in a genuine way,
Yeah.
true to whatever you do, but just have a plan.
and you got to post a lot. And I have people who are like, "You're blowing up," and it's like,
Mhm.
dude, I've been doing this 16 years. I've posted every day for 3 years. I've posted almost 1,000 things,
Yeah.
and I've had 10 go over 1 million views.
Yeah.
So like, those are the numbers we're dealing with. 10 out of 1,000.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm just. It's just like it's different for everybody.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt Rife is a hot butch lesbian.
And we
Speak
love that
on it.
for him.
And Trevor is tapped into a certain market as well. Like
Yeah.
So you figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
So, any other advice? Show up on time.
Yeah, for
That's
real.
really like anything you do, just show up on time. You'd be
Mhm.
surprised. This is how that's going to change your life if you show up
Yeah.
on time. And there's
Oh.
no excuse not to show up on time. I'm sorry. If you know you're somebody who's late, then just
sleep at the venue. Yeah, just show up a day early, sleep at the
Camp
venue,
out.
camp out.
Black
You know
Friday.
what I do now? I make sure I'm going to get to a place 10 to 15 minutes early, and then I just go live in my car on TikTok, or I film a
Yeah.
TikTok in my car.
Have something to fill
I
that
filmed one.
space.
I posted it right before I got here.
Mhm.
I filmed it in the car and I posted it.
We look at it once you leave, and it's like,
We're like,
ugh,
ugh. Yeah.
about to go do this
It's kind of
bullshit.
insufferable.
Well, right now I'm
know?
trying to make one of the sounds from my special go viral, so
Okay.
it's a whole thing. I don't know.
Okay.
I see.
Gaming
Ooh,
the
you got a
system.
plan. You got a plan. You got to beat the algorithm. That's your
100%.
final demon. You got to
Algorithm.
slay. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find you?
Just go to morganj.com, morganjay.com. You can Google me.
What's the name of the
Google me.
special?
Morgan J live at the Village.
Hell yeah.
That is the venue, a legendary recording studio.
Let's get it to
The-
100K.
I think we're gonna get there in about 2 or 3 weeks.
Hell
Let's
yeah.
go.
We're
Yeah.
going to do it. We're going to do it.
Kisses, guys.
Yeah.
XOXO.
Where can people find you?
You can
Elliot?
find me on all social media platforms at Grent Radish, GRENTRADDISH. Where can they find you?
At Ariana Ramic on everything. All right. Are we out?
Yep.
Woo! We did
See
it.
ya.
Bye.